I'll be honest, the thing I'm probably looking forward to the most right now in Black Ops Cold War is that of Season 1's integration with Warzone. December 10th, Warzone as we know it changes, or rather gets additions plus changes a little bit. Brutally honest, I'm not much enjoying Black Ops Cold War's MP right now, so I'm pretty excited to jump back into something that I've enjoyed the last couple of months quite a lot. So if you're like me, December 10th can't come soon enough. So today we're going to be breaking down everything that we know about the coming content and what we can see ahead of Season 1, because in the next couple of days here, or the next week or so, I'd imagine we start getting our first teasers as to what Season 1 shapes up to look like, plus also what could also mean Warzone teasers. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. What are you looking forward to within Season 1? Are you looking forward to the new integration coming for Warzone and potentially the new experience here that we'll be seeing within Warzone? Maybe you're looking forward to more Black Ops Cold War stuff and new maps, new weapons, and all things alike. Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts down below. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep it up to date with all things Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, and anything COD related. So if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. That said, let's talk about the integration. First, I think it's important to talk about some of the fundamentals that are changing, because there's a lot of big stuff coming within the Warzone integration, but also just for things simply like weaponry that you'll be able to use, that's something that's changing as well. The biggest part probably that you'll see here on a fundamental scale is that all weapons from Black Ops Cold War are being integrated into Warzone. That means that you'll be able to play around with any weapon that you have right now in Black Ops Cold War in Verdansk. So the big thing that you really want to make sure that you do, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, was that you want to make sure that all of your weapons are ranked up, because unlike Modern Warfare, a lot of the attachment system is pretty linear, meaning that you'll end up having the best builds only whenever you have that weapon fully maxed out and fully ranked up. So that's something you want to take advantage of now while there's still the opportunity to. And as of recording this, as of this going live later tonight, you'll still have that opportunity to play around with double weapon XP and get a little bit more of a boost here for your weapon levels overall. So definitely make sure that you try and do that, but you'll be able to use both Modern Warfare and Cold War loadouts however you'd like to choose. Now, if I were to guess, this pertains only to weaponry. I don't see perks or field upgrades coming over in the form of what you have in Black Ops Cold War, simply because you can max out some stuff whereas you can't in other areas. Perhaps things like your assault pack could drop maybe a little more cash with every kill that happens with the ammo. Perhaps the field might comes over, but I also would imagine that those are crate spawns, like how the field upgrades work in Warzone currently with things like dead silence, trophy systems, stopping power, and things alike. Now, I also would not anticipate wildcards to be available either when it comes down to a more fundamental loadout build here, because those just present some huge differences in terms of play on a fundamental level across the creator class. I mean, in Cold War alone, you have the ability to kit out a weapon with 8 attachments, where the max is 5 in Modern Warfare and Warzone. You also can't get 6 perks in Warzone unless you have Specialist bonus from one of the Easter eggs, but you can in Cold War thanks to perk greed. So I'd wager to say that a lot of this stuff here is just relating around weaponry, which is the big part here with this. But interestingly enough, you could actually take 2 of the same weapon though if there are repeat weapons. If you have an interest in, say, running overkill AK-47s, you definitely could. There's no problem with that. The crossover, though, won't be simplified to one weapon. Instead, both variations of the weapon will be clearly marked as Modern Warfare or Cold War variations of the weapons. You'll end up seeing those in the creator class systems. But weaponry is a big part to add into Warzone. That's a big chunk of content already being added in. Sure, but we also will see a couple of other things here. Firstly, we're going to see that rank shift in progression in Modern Warfare and Warzone entirely change. We, of course, have the seasonal leveling system that we see up until right now, where every single season you can go up to 155. Each new season you reset back to 55, but that's not going to be the case here going forward with Season 1's integration. All 3 main titles of Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Black Ops Cold War will all share the same unified ranking progression system that we see within Black Ops Cold War right now. So you'll be able to play Modern Warfare, Warzone, or Black Ops Cold War and still work towards that unified level, which is great, I think, and allows players to play however they want to. Now, on top of that, disconnecting a little bit just from the base of Modern Warfare, the Battle Pass is also going to be something that is integrated with Warzone as well, where we saw Modern Warfare and Warzone share a Battle Pass this past year, simply because, well, it was the base of the game. Modern Warfare was the base for Warzone here, seemingly. Black Ops Cold War's Battle Pass will then transfer over to Warzone with Season 1's integration as well, so that if you play Warzone, you can still end up earning those new items for Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, because at that point, everything will be funneled into Warzone as well as just being simply from Black Ops Cold War. So you definitely have a lot to play around with here, and you definitely have a lot coming in just terms of fundamental basics of how the game will actually work out. But what about the world of Warzone? What about Verdansk? Is there anything that's going to be changing here with this? Or are we going to get a brand new map entirely? Well, if we take a look at some of the information we got from Miles Leslie during the official reveal event for Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer, they talked briefly about Warzone, and they had mentioned explicitly that Warzone is still going to have Verdansk. It's still going to be the same world of Verdansk, though it will see an evolution at some point. Now, whether or not that is actually something that happens with December 10th's integration, we don't know, but it is something that Warzone as a whole, Verdansk, isn't going anywhere. If I were to guess, we see some new POIs pop up, or maybe if there is some giant changeover here, it is something that we see an event that takes us back in time or so that we can explore Verdansk when, according to the storyline, it was a thriving city. That's something that we could see here with that, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket just yet. Instead, I think that we'll be getting something secondary. In fact, I'd be willing to prove it. But before we do, I'd like to tell you about my good friends over at Artesian Builds, a PC company that I've been working with recently and are some of the greatest guys I've met in the industry. If you're looking to get any of the large amounts of new hardware like the new AMD CPUs, the new 3070, 3080, or even 3090 GPUs, and much more like custom-etched glass casing, and even the ability to watch them build your PC live on their stream, they've got you covered with the best quality and service. What you're seeing now is a little bit of what they dubbed the espresso machine, the custom powerhouse running the show here for all the daily uploads and streams that we'll be working with for quite some time to come. I know that PC components can get expensive, but if you're at all interested, you can get up to $100 off normally, and I believe right now up to $300 off for the holiday deals. So if you're interested, check the link in the description below. But as for that secondary map, bear with me because this does get a little bit drawn out here at this, but you remember Rebirth Island? That was something that was data mined from the Warzone game files a long while ago. Since then, we've seen progressive builds in regards to Rebirth files and associated images that look to be a repurposed variation of Alcatraz, being reskinned as a Russian island. Interestingly enough, I don't think that many really knew this or really kept it in the back of their minds, but a lot of people in the industry who all have credible track records mentioned that Blackout would be returning in some capacity here with Black Ops Cold War. Now, of course, Warzone pretty much destroyed any hope of Blackout being its own standalone thing here because there was so much invested into Warzone, but with a reimagination and reintegration of Alcatraz in a different format, that could be a way for that to live on in a sense. But how do we know this reskin of Blackout's Alcatraz is coming as Rebirth Island? Well, we do know, of course, of that connection between the name of Rebirth Island and the Alcatraz reskin because there's data mined game and image files linking the two together. Those are explicitly tethered together. But how do we know that that's what's up on deck for Season 1? How do we know that we're going to be getting a new map, per se, here, a smaller secondary map? Well, if you take a look at the initial post-launch roadmap that we saw with Black Ops Cold War released by official platforms shortly before launch, we can see that there, of course, are a handful of things. New multiplayer maps and modes coming with Season 1's launch on December 10th, 2v2 gunfight returning, which was actually already seen in-game as a locked-off menu tile shortly after, I think it was the Nuketown update, if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing that in the game, and I was like, that's not supposed to be there. Then we'll, of course, see new weapons coming. We see new zombies modes, interestingly not labeled as a new map, but instead just modes, and then also something that is listed as much more, likely referring to the new operators coming with Season 1, the Battle Pass system being introduced, the Warzone integration as a whole, the introduction of the shop, and other items coming as well. But then there's that last tile that's listed as a classified Warzone experience. And the term experience says a lot. Wording is huge whenever it comes to marketing and legal at Activision. For context, experience is something bigger than just a map. It's something different. To the point that when we had our pre-release capture session for Warzone back in March, we quite literally didn't know the name of Warzone until we stepped foot in the studio on the game floor and sat down at the stations with the game booted up. Everything up until that point, NDAs, communications pertaining to, all things described Warzone as the new Call of Duty experience. So it's not going to be a map change to Warzone or anything like that, but instead, I see it as matching up with the Warzone experience and what Blackout offered with Alcatraz, a new way and a spin on Battle Royale, but in the context and universe of Warzone, so a new Warzone experience, allowing respawns and such, perhaps bringing again that different experience of what a BR could be to Warzone. Additionally, we can also make out a little bit in the text of that tile, but most notably, the Aral Sea twice and at the tail end, Inia Island. Now, that island is in reference to Vozrozdania Island, situated in the Aral Sea in Uzbekistan, and it was a key Soviet Union biological weapons program location. But do you know what else that is known for, or at least in the Call of Duty world? Well, it's the real-life basis for Black Ops 1's Rebirth Island, where the game comes to a climax and you find yourself realizing that it wasn't Reznov that killed Steiner, it was actually Mason. That's where that takes place, on Rebirth Island. So that comes full circle now, and if you connect the dots, that teaser, though it does not explicitly say, hey, December 10th, Season 1, Alcatraz, yeah, that's coming back. If you connect the dots and know what you're looking for, it's hidden in plain view. So a secondary map, I'd wager to say, is coming here with Season 1. Now, what's even cooler is that we might have some lead-up stuff here to this if, again, the pieces all fit accordingly. Now, interestingly enough, there also are subsequent Rebirth event files listed in Warzone, something that many consider to be the nuke event since we had this progressive build-up in relation to Warzone's storyline, the lore and the openings and discoveries inside each of the main bunkers around Verdansk, and considering the increasingly tense storyline that's constantly progressing in the intel missions of Warzone, it's a valid thought. But what's odd is that in relation to the Warzone intel missions is that there's reference to Rebirth Island twice actually, but never explicitly in that data mine and upcoming intel missions. These mention that there's a prisoner in the Gulag, not the Gulag of where you die and go to try and fight back into the game, but the actual prison. There's a mention that a prisoner talks about an island, and then the either penultimate or final mission data mined, I forget which one, it mentions that the event could affect more than just Verdansk, and that there's something just off the coast, geographically tying Rebirth Island out to the sea at the edge of Verdansk. But many think this will be the nuke event, which it could be, but who knows? That also could be something that's saved for the rumored new map, theory to be coming in March, the 1-year mark for Warzone. But either way, not too long ago, there was a specific tile for Rebirth in the game mode lists and leaderboard listings in Warzone that was subsequently removed, thus hinting at it being its own game mode, following similarly how it would be tied to its own map, or even still, perhaps its own event playlist. We know that the Know Your History event was a limited time mode that popped up for a few hours over the course of 2 to 3 days, and if I'm not mistaken, that had its own leaderboard listing for a brief moment. That could be something that comes leading up to Season 1, and what I'm really interested to see if the next week or so provides any clarity on this. But how would that even work? We'll keep that 2 to 3 day window in mind that we just mentioned about the Know Your History event, because I think that could be important here. You remember how we had that Season 6 mystery about how it was ending a month before the integration of Cold War and Warzone, and that also rank shift in Modern Warfare? Do you also remember that we followed up by seeing that that season actually got an extension to the point that right now it's still going on? Well, guess when that ends? December 8th. 2 days before Season 1's integration, and also a perfect amount of time to let there be time to experience what could be the Rebirth event that then leads up to the trailer for Rebirth Island and the new Warzone experience. I mean, think of it, that payoff of the Know Your History reward was the global reveal trailer for Black Ops Cold War, right? Who's to say another trailer doesn't drop at the end of the next event? And guess how much time there was between Alcatraz's announcement in Black Ops 4, that trailer that launched, and when it was actually released? 1 day. So it was, at that time, probably the biggest surprise content reveal and turnaround that we'd seen. No real promo or marketing leading up to it, but who's to say that doesn't happen again? That after 2 days, on the 8th, we get that trailer showcased for the very first time, and then it launches on the 10th. That's not out of the realms of possibilities. So while there's a ton of stuff still coming within Black Ops Cold War for multiplayer, some zombies, and some stuff we'll see with all of that, Warzone has a ton up on deck here, I think, that are really big changes and fundamental things that really should refresh the game after not really having all that many changes to it over the last couple of months. So I'm incredibly excited to see what happens here with this. Again, the next week or so will probably clear up some of these questions we have, but for the time being, that's what we know about Black Ops Cold War's Season 1 integration with Warzone. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this here? Are you looking forward to, again, Season 1 and the content coming within integration for Warzone? Maybe you're looking forward more so to Black Ops Cold War content, whatever it is, let me know your thoughts. But hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, and Modern Warfare. We'll keep you up to date with all of it. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected on YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.